Welcome to EWRite, Argumentative Essays. In your assessment, you have been asked to write an argumentative essay. It is important to first understand what an argumentative essay is. An argumentative essay examines a topic in detail. It does this by evaluating evidence and forming a stance. This involves three main points. First of all, it is important to review research literature on the topic. Next, your essay needs to form arguments supported by evidence of research. Finally, the argumentative essay must evaluate competing arguments and offer counterarguments. Another important stage is planning. Here are some important points to remember. First, you need to understand the question which needs to be addressed in your essay. Next, make sure you spend enough time researching and reading up on key arguments related to the topic. Decide on your position with regard to the topic and use arguments to back it up. Often, you will need to provide counterarguments to rebut these in order to demonstrate to the reader that the position you have taken is stronger. If you can, reply to possible objections to your arguments as well. Structure is also an important stage in writing your argumentative essay, and you need to include the following. First, the title outlines the topic. Then, the introduction provides relevant background information, outlines the arguments of the essay, and finally, provides the thesis. Next, the main body contains a number of body paragraphs which address why the reader should agree with your position. After that, a conclusion will restate the thesis and summarize the arguments from the body paragraphs. Finally, a reference list will be included. You need to include a reference entry for each source that you cite in your essay. Now, let's examine the essay structure in more detail. The introduction needs to include background information on the topic. It also needs to briefly introduce the arguments around the topic. Finally, the introduction needs a thesis statement to take a stance that would answer the question in the essay. You could also add an overview, which describes how you will argue your position. A body paragraph is often built using a topic sentence which gives the main idea or argument of that paragraph. Often, a concluding sentence is used at the end of the body paragraph to restate the idea or argument in the topic sentence. Please note that certainly not every paragraph needs to end with a concluding sentence. When writing rebuttal paragraphs, it is important to first mention the argument that will be refuted. Next, you will refute the argument with the support of sources. Finally, you can end with a concluding sentence that supports your stance. You can see in this example that the writer has followed the structure which has been outlined. In your conclusion, you will summarize your arguments presented in the main body, which should logically lead you to restate the position you have taken about the issue. You can end your essay highlighting possible implications or wider context of the issue discussed. One final point to remember is that it is important to use what is termed hedging when writing your argumentative essay. Hedging involves tentative language which avoids assertive language such as certainly, undoubtedly, and never. Examples of tentative language include verbs, for example, suggest, indicate, and imply. Modal verbs, for example, may, might, and could. Adjectives such as probable, possible, and arguable. Adverbs such as probably, possibly, and arguably. And nouns such as probability, possibility, and assumption. Such hedging adds caution to your claims and limits the reader's ability to criticize your points.